So let me welcome you to today's flight from Sierra Blanca Regional to Truth or Consequences Municipal. I really like that name, so then it became an airport that we can't miss in our journey. Let's dive into the weather first. These pictures are taken in the morning or a few hours ago, so we'll definitely go to the website and check for the actual forecast. What we can see now are the actual or like current conditions at our destination and departure, and both report quite strong winds. Departure even stronger winds, like 15 knots gusting 24 direction from the north. So we'll check the runway direction if we'll actually safe enough to depart, or if we would need to like scratch that flight in real life. In simulator, we always have that luxury to actually challenge ourselves a little bit and do some more extreme flying. But these kinds of winds are actually good ground or good reason for like scratching or waiting with the flight, even if there were like blowing down the runway. Otherwise, visibility is very great. No skies, very nice spread between the temperature and the dew point, and a slightly higher pressure, which still we are at altitude, so that higher pressure will actually help us with our performance. Destination slightly lower winds as of now, but if you check the forecast, they again forecast 15 knots, gusting 20. So maybe just now they are a little bit lower. Slightly higher temperature, but that's mainly due to the fact that this airfield is about 4,000 feet lower at elevation than our departure. So let's check the weather in real life, real time. So these are winds for 9,000 feet. I'll also check 12,000 feet. Slightly stronger and against us, so I would not want to climb unnecessarily high. Maybe 9,000 is enough. Let's check the clouds. And now we see that if I check current conditions, we have some cloud system here. If I check forecast, that is in an hour, it's moving a little bit towards us. And 1 hour later, again moving a little bit towards us. It's true that there is a mountain range here, so maybe it's where it stops. But let's count with that we might encounter, or there might be some clouds. So let's actually take off and depart in time before it reaches us. You can see, for example, broken 090, and you need to realize that these are MSL values. So since we are at 7,000 feet already, it means that it's only 2,000 feet, from the ground here. If I check the temperature, then at 9,000 feet, we have around, what is it, minus 10 to minus 5, something like that. So if we don't have any clouds, then we are safe from icing. However, if there would be clouds, then first we would not be able to do VFR flight, and also we would risk icing. Current conditions, let's see. Yeah, that's something that often pops up. We can see that we have some system here to the east of us, but otherwise that looks quite fine. With 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it's a 0.7 Fahrenheit, which is a dew point, and 10 miles visibility, and the pressure is 30. I mean 3030. All right, so weather-wise, forgot to check the winds at surface, because we identified in METARs that surface winds might be a problem a little bit. So let's hope that it will come online. Sometimes this page is kind of unresponsive. I like the old one more in a way that it was more reliable, even though it has some downtimes. Well, let's check a little bit later, and let's continue, so not to lose the time. So departure field, where we ended last time, Sierra Blanca Regional. What's interesting on this field is that it's quite high. It's almost 7,000 feet elevation. So we need to count with that regarding our departure and performance. The wind is reported from 350. So if you check the runway layout, we don't really have good option. For 350 here, that means roughly 45-50 degree angle with the runway. And that means that we have about 2/3 of that wind will be actually a crosswind component. So if I see that it's 14 gusting 21, that means that the crosswind component will be about 10 gusting 16, 17, quite a lot. The same amount of headwind for sure, but that crosswind component is quite high, and I would actually choose to stay on the ground and not fly in a light aircraft in those conditions. So it's going to be challenging, and we will use runway 30, as all other runways would be kind of not smart to use. Destination airport, truth or consequences. I still like it. It's located west of some body of water there, so it should be pretty easily found. The elevation is, I made a mistake. It's actually not 4,000 feet difference, but just 2,000 feet difference. Sorry for that. So it's still pretty high. And again, if I look at the runway layout and at the winds that are currently reported, 050, forecast is 030, 050, yeah, that's almost direct crosswind if we consider the only paved runway. It has a web of other runways, which is gravel, and it's in generally it's in a good condition. I have no idea how the simulator will actually depict that, but some of those runways, namely runway 7 and 1, might be quite difficult to land at because they have most likely some mountains or something else, there. We'll see where we get there. Actually, that's a drop off. So it says runway 07 sharp drop off approach end. Yeah, so that's probably something, there, maybe a mountain or some terrain that you really need to come high and, under a great angle. So it might make for a nice challenge, definitely. Just remember the TN exceeds 45 degrees slope. It's kind of excessive, I would say. And the length is almost 3,000 feet, so nothing really that long, plus our altitude. But we can make a calculation. If this runway would be enough for us to land at, the problem will be terrain. So yeah, so also challenging approach. So we'll see how we do. Route planning, as already advertised, we have a restricted zone to cross there. And yes, we could have gone around or completely forget that, we want to go to, or I want to go to truth or consequences, to be perfectly honest. But again, since we are in the simulator, we'll probably not be hit by a missile. So just be aware. I've did some digging, and it seems that in real life, you basically have no chance of going through this ever. Might be some. It even, when I check the map, it even doesn't have like a frequency listed. That's a 5107 Bravo, and if I check 5107 Bravo, the controlling agency is actually no. There is no controlling agency, and it's continuous and altitude unlimited. So I believe especially the Bravo one is kind of it's no-fly zone, I would say. So no chance of getting through there. So we'll take that advantage that we are in the simulator, and we can check what no other can check in real life. If you check generally that restricted area, it's quite high, it's quite wide or long here. So it goes all the way, almost all the way to Albuquerque, and down south it goes. I don't even know what kind of town is here, El Paso, so almost to the Mexican border there. Regarding other airspaces, it's just the. Hmm, sorry for that. Obviously, Roswell is elsewhere. Must have stayed there from before. So I'll remove that afterwards. So we don't have any other airspaces that. Sorry, I'm just clicking something. Any other airspaces that I mean, like in a sense of like a Delta, Charlie, or Bravo. So as far as VFR flight goes, apart from those restricted areas, we don't have any complications or special rules that we need to adhere to. As far as the navigation, I would say that when I depart, I will probably try to cross that field again so, on my departure because we will be departing to the north there or northwest. I'll probably take either like a left turn, to join this course. Maybe I'll be able to see the towns here in a while, or I can plan to actually go to join this road and fly. There is a mountain range and the peaks, so I know that I should cross south of them. That should be pretty much all that you need to know if nothing else works for you. And also, if you zoom in, there is a very small water body and some resort. So might be visible, might be not. Then we follow a stretch that goes, since it's like a normally no-fly zone and missile testing range, there is not much to orientate ourselves against or like compare our position against. So I chose one point as a road that goes from north to south, and there's also railway there. So I hope that I will be able to spot that in lieu of also timing my legs. Then I have some peaks there, Salinas Peak over there, and another peak over there. So again, plan to kind of fly south of this one and north of that one. And then I should soon be able to see the body of water and then the airport behind that. So a little bit more dead reckoning might be needed on this flight, but should be quite doable. Those distances are not that great. Since we have a higher elevation, I thought that first we'll again repeat and review why we care about the elevation of the airfield. As you know, the higher you go, the pressure decreases and also temperature decreases a little bit. And the performance of the aircraft mainly depends on something what we call density altitude. Under a standard day and at sea level, density altitude is 0 feet, and a standard day is 15 degrees of Celsius and the pressure of 292 inches of mercury. And so that's like your baseline that you compare to. And then the higher you go, the air becomes less dense and the performance of the aircraft decreases, at least performance of the normally aspirated aircraft engines. Uh, since there is less air, you need generally a higher ground speed to achieve the same kind of airspeed. And also, as I said, the engine performance decreases unless you have some turbo charge or supercharged engine. Um, pressure, like nominal pressure, doesn't decrease with altitude linearly. It's kind of a, I wouldn't say exponential, but let's say that per every 18,000 feet, you lose half a pressure. So if you have a pressure about 2992 at sea level, it will be half at 18,000 feet. And also the rate at which that pressure changes is actually more spread at altitude. So for example, at sea level pressure, the change of 1 hectopascal will give you a change of 27 feet. Or if you change the altimeter setting by 1/100th of an inch of mercury, then the elevation will change 9 feet. So let's say that I have a, let's actually take our example that we have, and let's see if the winds have updated. Yeah, I can, so we'll check that later. So right now, for example, our departure reports QNH or altimeter setting of 3030. If that airport was at a sea level, that would mean that our pressure altitude is, and we have like a difference of 38 here, 38 hundredths. So it would mean that our pressure altitude is about, let's say 38 times almost 10. So it's like 380. So let's say 350. So our pressure altitude would actually not be 0, but it would be minus 350. That means that we have better performance. We have more air there. If I compare that, at flight level 180, which is 18,000 feet in standard atmosphere, you need to change your altitude by 47 feet already to obtain a change of 1 hectopascal, or 16 feet to get one difference in 100th of inch of mercury. And this is quite significant. In aviation, we usually say that in order to calculate your pressure altitude, you should allow like 10 feet per 100th of inch of mercury, or 30 feet per 1 hectopascals, which is generally a good, which are generally good numbers to use, because as you can see, even for 7,000 feet elevation, the actual value is about 34 feet per 1 hectopascal, or 12 feet here. So it's quite close, and let's say that you have like a change of altimeter setting of 0.30 or 0.40, and that difference would just make like 80 feet difference. And for performance calculations, as you can see from these charts, you can't even say, where is 80 here. So it's pretty close, and we can generally use this formula to get our pressure altitude. Because as you can see, this is like a takeoff distance over 50-foot obstacle chart for a Piper Comanche, and you need to know your pressure altitude. So let's actually get our pressure altitude today for our field. Our pressure altitude is, so altimeter setting 3030, which is 38 more than 2992. If I multiply that with 10, I get 380 feet. And since it's a higher pressure, then my pressure altitude actually decreases, because we would find that same pressure normally at higher altitude. So since our field is at 6,800 feet, my pressure altitude will be around 6,400, let's say. Now I need to know my outside air pressure, outside air temperature. And the METAR says it's 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me check my thermometer here. Yeah, it's 0, which is actually 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll actually go here, find 32 degrees, which is someplace there. Extend there. I don't have a ruler here, but I extend that up until I reach my pressure altitude of 6,400. all the way up there, all the way up there, someplace like here. As you can see, we are slightly below standard temperature, right? Standard temperature at 7,000 feet is 1 degree Celsius. So temperature actually plays in our advantage. If it was hotter, then we would be more here and we would need to go higher. Then I cross that line here, and I'll check what my weight is. My weight is 2,735 pounds right now. Normally, you need to, of course, calculate that, do like a weight and balance calculations and everything like that. And I can see that with decreasing weight, I will actually reach smaller takeoff numbers. So I follow that line, parallel to that, and I go down to 2,735, which might be someplace there. Then I again draw a horizontal line there. And then what's my headwind component? Again, let's check the weather once more. It's 14 knots from 350, and as I said, my headwind component will be around 10 or even 11. And since I have my headwind component, I go down all the way there and then across here. And this is my takeoff distance over 50-foot obstacle, right? And that means that my takeoff distance is 2,200 feet, thereabout, which is quite all right because a runway is quite long there, about 6,000 or 7,000 if I remember correctly. And you can do the same calculation for landing distance. Right, so let's quickly do that. As of now, the altitude, the temperature is 0.7 degrees Celsius, which, if I read here correctly, will be around 45, let's say 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's use that one. So I will start about there, go up, right? A little bit crooked line. Elevation, I will say 5,000 feet. Current pressure there is 3032, so that's 40 difference. So I will subtract 400 from that elevation to get about 4,400. So I'll extend this line to 4,400. That's about there. As you can see now, the temperature of 7 degrees is actually above standard temperature for that altitude. I go here. My landing weight will be just short of 2,700. So let's say that it's gonna be there. And now I need to do it to the right. And again, we have a headwind component, of course. And if the weather holds, the headwind component will be around 5 knots, 6 knots, or something like that. So not that much, but it will decrease rather good like that. And the landing distance is 1,350 feet. And that's a distance over 50-foot obstacle. Remember, there are some conditions. So this will list, what kind of conditions you need to fulfill in order to get those numbers. And also a very good way how to, because you don't know, these are like numbers that were obtained by testing, when the aircraft was new. So if you add like 50% to it, just like a personal, buffer, then that's fine, So I would not say, okay, 1,350. Yes, it could theoretically do it, but let's say that I need at least 2,000 foot runway to, feel safe about it. The same way for takeoff distance. Yeah, 2,200, fine. Let's say that I'm comfortable with 3,000, right? So you calculate that, but then you can add, your personal buffer. Any questions regarding these things, because it might be kind of a complicated topic. So if there are any questions or you think I said something wrong, just speak up. And if nobody's gonna speak up, then I'll move forward. Departure, that was kind of a slide prepared for Tuesday. So today it's going to be a little bit different because most likely we will use runway 30. So that means taxiing to runway 30 and taking off. So let's verify what kind of traffic pattern they have there. I think it's going to be a left traffic pattern. And runway 30 doesn't say anything, so it's a left traffic pattern. So I would depart, and let's actually make an annotation there. So I would depart. When I reach at least 700 feet AGL, I can make a 45-degree turn, the crosswind direction. And when I reach at least 1500 feet AGL, I can make my final turn and consider myself leaving the pattern. So I would just probably go in this direction because then, you know, I can keep those mountains to my right and fly south of them. Radio calls, this is an untowered field, so you need to make a standard radio calls. The file was available to you, so feel free to download it and to reference that if you are unsure what to say. En route portion, if we have any controller, then yes, we can ask for a VFR flight following. Again, examples here. And when en route, of course, keep control of your aircraft, make sure that you navigate properly. So again, time those lags, identify the fixes that you have set for yourself, try to positively identify them, compare with the time that you spent in the air, and cross-verify that you are at the correct place at the correct time. Arrival, I've depicted like a patterns for the main runway here, or main asphalt runway. Again, we can either approach already at traffic pattern altitude and join the downwind at midfield at 45 degrees and continue in the pattern, or we can cross the field 500 feet above the traffic pattern altitude, which is either 1500 or 2000 feet, depending on if you expect some kind of high performance aircraft in the pattern or jets. If that is an airport where jets are common, then I would choose 2000 feet above the ground to also clear their traffic pattern altitude. Then you continue at that altitude from the point you cross that runway at least 2 nautical miles, and only then you can start a descending right turn to join again at 45 degrees midfield on the downwind and continue with your landing. If you are unsure what you're gonna do, then when you are making the first call and announcing your intentions, just say that you are continuing, and you will be flying over the airport or overflying the airfield, and then you can, give it a look and actually inform, the traffic what you're gonna do after you made your inspection. Yep. The first call should be made at least 10 nautical miles away. And at that point, it's all right to just tell your position with reference to maybe the airport, so 10 miles to the east, your altitude, and what are your intentions. So if you already know what runway you're gonna use, because you also should check the weather before you approach that, then you can say that you will be joining a left downwind of runway 13, for example, or runway 31, and only when you get closer, you should make a. If you are going on the magenta or violet line, then it's a good thing to announce before you cross that field that you are overhead the field and that you are crossing it. And then next call will be when joining the downwind, next call when turning base, and the final call when turning final. Latest at final, please announce your intention. So if it's gonna be like a full stop landing, touch and go, or a low approach, or what you intend to do. And then if it's a full stop landing, you can land and taxi there. Since this is kind of unknown to me how that airport will look like in the simulator, I'll probably overfly it and then decide what I'm gonna do. Also, depending on the weather. If the wind is from 050, that's basically perpendicular to this runway. So it might be good to land at 07, but again, there might be some terrain that's kind of impossible to clear properly, and I would not want to crash. Remember, I calculated my landing distance as, let's actually get back, as 1,350, and then I wanted to add some margin, like 2,000 feet, and also that's for paved surface. So your braking action on gravel will be much worse. So I would probably add something more. And if I add another 1,000 feet or so, maybe that's just excessive, but then I'm already at um, at a runway length, right? And considering that I cannot land at the beginning, most likely, it might be a peculiar or might be dangerous. Again, a good challenge for a sim pilot, not really a good idea for a real world one. In that case, I would also advise to do a practice approach. So first, first approach, do not even plan the landing, try to approach it and, see how that goes and see where you would actually touch down. If it's like almost till the end of the runway, then you know that it's probably not a good idea to go in. Any questions? I've talked quite a lot today. So if there are no questions, as always, I will be here. Today we also have Spiros joining us, our CFI. So if you have any questions now, during the flight, before the flight, or even after the flight, just feel free to speak here on Discord. I will be streaming the flight on Twitch, but I do encourage you to fly if you feel like it. It's actually better if you fly yourself. If not, feel free to watch my stream instead. And happy flying.
Happy flying.
Happy flying.
All right. So I've already done a pre-flight inspection there. So let's continue with starting the aircraft. And is my SPAT next not running? Okay, we have an update that I will just cancel. All right, that's working. So we go a beacon. I'll just put this off so you can see what I'm doing there. Beacon light. Mixture full. Crank the throttle. Verify that we have our tanks on. Yes. Main tanks. Fuel indicates full tanks, which is correct. Very good. So let's turn on the fuel pump and see the fuel pressure rising, hopefully. Yes, fuel pressure is rising, so I'll disconnect that. Disconnect headphones as well. FPS is, yeah, let's hope that it's gonna be better in the air. So now we cracked that one, good. We prime the engine. 1, 2, and 3. Lock it again. And let's actually try to start that aircraft. So both look around, clear prop. Come on. Okay, very good. so let's just give it a little bit to clear those spark plugs, and I also should have done maybe a little bit lean mixture for starting at this high elevation. Let's put it a little bit less RPM, clean the mixture a bit. We have oil pressure, good. We have positive charge on the amp meter. Okay, that's too much, so let's keep the mixture there. Let's turn on the avionics. We'll fill our configure our EDM that we have filled the engine. Fill the fuel. Yes, refuel, and we filled 60. That's good, safe. And we have remaining 60 gallons. That's good. Frequency 122.8. Already squawking 1200. Very good. Alright, we have quite a long taxi ahead of us, so we'll go ahead and taxi out, and on that taxi we expect our engine to warm up. First of all, so I'll set the altimeter. It was 3030, so let's just... yeah, it's almost a 1,000 feet difference. And that will give us our field elevation. Very good.
Sierra Blanca traffic, November 26 Echo, climb Papa Arrow, north ramp, taxi to runway 30 via Alpha Bravo, Sierra Blanca.
Okay, I will put in my headphones so you can better hear me. Also sync my directional gyro there, so it should read 332, 333. Something like that. Let's recheck the weather. Okay, just put it like here. And we didn't check those gusts. Yeah, so as you can see here, here the wind is kind of more stable currently, or it's predicted stable, and here we expect some gusts. So if I load that, 35010, what the simulator says, it says 342 at 17 knots. Yeah, 20 knots of wind. We will also incorporate some taxi in the wind. So I will configure my OBS needle to actually point like how the wind blows, right? So it points from 342. Currently it's going from the front, and also you can see that my airspeed indicator already reads something. So we need to make sure that we correctly compensate when taxiing. And this is the runway. As for the taxi, we'll just go behind the arrow. Sierra Blanca traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, Piper Comanche on the apron, taxiing to runway 30, Sierra Blanca. And I'll just put that on so you can see. Okay, parking brake off. So select the trim there, and we're going.
Sierra Blanca, November 17 Delta, taxi runway 30, apron, Sierra Blanca. Sierra Blanca traffic, Arrow 36 Echo, crossing runway 0624, Sierra Blanca.
Okay, clear from right. clear on the left. And I forgot to do those corrections, so right now like this. And
Sierra Blanca traffic, hour 36 Echo, clear off runway 0624, Sierra Blanca.
to deflect our ailerons in a way that it doesn't want like completely weather vane us. So good thing they fixed the ground handling for this aircraft. This has a custom engine and I don't need to do any right rudder to actually stay. Normally if I would be taxiing a default aircraft, I would be full right rudder and still probably not enough to actually keep straight. I'm glad to see that this aircraft has this fixed and I can normally taxi like in the real world. Okay. Sierra Blanca traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, crossing runway 24 at Bravo, Sierra Blanca. Now away from the wind, as it's blowing from the back. Okay, I will check. Okay, I don't see anything
Sierra Blanca,
here.
November 187 Delta, crossing runway
Clear right.
24 at Bravo, Sierra Blanca.
Let's go. Should have put my strobes on, so let's do it now. And strobes can go off. Sierra Blanca traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, runway 24 is vacated and continue taxiing to runway 30, Sierra Blanca. Okay, all temperature is now in the green, which is good to see. And we are going a little bit faster, but since it's like a long stretch of taxiway, it's perfectly fine. So we would be able to probably take off from the middle of the runway, but we'll not take any chances and we'll just taxi all the way to the end of it. Should be also pushing forward a little bit, so if there is any gust from behind, it will actually push the tail down instead of up. Okay, that's in the middle of the runway. Let's continue. Ground speed of 14 knots is a little faster taxi. Close those windows as part of the my arm is already aching from pushing that alpha yoke all the way in. someone behind me all the time. Yeah. So I'll try to get at least slightly. Oh, aircraft disappeared.
Yeah, looks like I have to quit early today. My UI is completely frozen. Can't do anything.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. You just disappeared in front of me.
Yeah. Just
So,
disconnected, but
so the game froze, or?
no, the instrument panel of the plane. No idea
Oh,
why. So it's just guess I have to investigate first.
so you have some custom panel.
No, it's I think it's an issue with the plane. It's
Ah,
normally it happens sometimes, but then it unfreezes within a few seconds, but
that's not
not
cool.
this time. Ah, oh well. Guess maybe if I can find anything.
Yeah. Well,
In any
feel
case,
feel free to watch my flight instead if you feel like it. If not, then I hope that see you next time.
yeah. See you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye. Alright, so I'll just increase to 2000. And I also want to get maximum HP using my mixture, maximum power, which was I believe 37 at some point. Yeah, there it is. 38 even. 39. Okay, so let's stay there. And let's check the yeah, everything is in the green, so magnetos, right magneto. We have slightly more than 2000, so it'll just go down. One magneto. Drop without 150, that's on the border. Back, left magneto. Slightly less drop, alright. I'll cycle my prop governor to get some oil in there, like fresh oil, warm oil. At least 3 times. Alright. Then I'll decrease my RPM to 1500 and check the carb heat. So apply carb heat. Yes, there is a drop. Very good. And idle. Okay. Looks nice. Surfaces. Yeah, seem to work fine. I have full motion. So let's go. Fuel pump, strobe lights, landing lights. Featured heat because it's kind of cold. And we can go. Sierra Blanca traffic. Sorry, stand by. I have a glider on the runway. Hey guys, do you see the glider on the runway? Or Valerio, actually you?
Looks like a Cirrus.
Yeah, for me it's a glider.
Okay. Oh, it takes off like a glider. It's like a winch. Okay.
Spiros, is that you?
Yep.
You're in the glider?
Yes.
Okay. And now you're off, or you started?
It's the second time that I try. The first time I didn't find any good wind.
Ah. Okay. So now you're off, so I can taxi to the runway, I think. Sierra Blanca traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, taking off runway 30 left crosswind departure. Sierra Blanca. So let's go there. So there is a wind from the right, so we'll need to apply correction towards. Okay, I'll go landing gear flaps. So full correction, mixture is already. Actually, let's lean for maximum power. Like that, 80, and off we go. Okay, I will slightly reduce that.
Blanca traffic, November 17 Delta, lining up runway 3. Correction 03.
Okay, positive rate, so gear goes up. Try to accelerate to about 105. Yeah, and let's pull it up. I'll reduce my RPM to 2500, actually 2400. But I'll keep my throttle full. Alright. So we are 1 minute in the air. I am 700 feet,
Traffic,
so let's turn 45 degrees.
Departing runway 30 on the captain to departure.
And let's continue climbing. I want to climb to 10,000 feet today, or 10,500. Okay, and the flaps should have gone up. Fuel pump off, landing lights off. We should actually have better climb performance now with flaps up. My heater is full on. It's gonna be needed.
Blanca traffic, November 12 Delta turning to the northeast, captain NDB.
Sierra Blanca traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, altitude 8,800 feet, just west of the airfield, climbing to 10,500 and leaving the area to the southwest. A final call, Sierra Blanca. Hello, Arthur. So still climbing, there's the airfield. We have some valley there. So if I see correctly, yeah, we will actually join that valley. That's this portion there. And then we can orient ourselves there. Let's push it forward. Let's gain some speed. And we can start bringing down the RPM. Let's say to 2100 initially. And let's fly at about 55% of horse brake power. And I'm gonna lean a bit. Back in, increase that. Alright, so what we see below us are some towns. And there's a resort, it's probably that one. So let's head over there. Because that was my user fix I wanted to start my journey from. It's kind of windy there, but it's kind of expected. Could it be that resort? I think it could. Down the valley, that's probably it. So I'm gonna climb a bit. I will set up from that resort. I should be keeping magnetic heading of 266, which means for 266 I should turn like 268 about. Actually no, that is for 270, so 266, let's say 1 degree less, like 264. Just set 264 to, is it 264? Yeah, 264 thereabout. Again, that's if I have everything perfectly synchronized there. It's not possible to do in some such gusts. So we must be at the resort now, right? Yeah, there it is. So when I'm at a beam of that, I'll just start my timer. Okay, I'm there. So let's start the timer, and it took like 7 minutes 30 here, that first leg, including the climb, so I'll just put it there, 7.5. And now we should be flying there, and probably already those mountains that I want to kind of skirt from the south. But I'll be currently heading someplace, some there. The wind here should be from 340, so which get me from the right. That means that we are actually flying there, which is correct, should be correct. It's probably already that Salinas Peak that we see in the distance. It's about 40 nautical miles. It looks like it. Slightly in the middle we should have the road. And of course, here we have that 12,000 foot peak. So we continue pointing our nose someplace there and hoping that it will take us there. Of course, it's kind of bumpy here. It's expected with those winds in mountains. Engines are in the green, and I should be flying on one tank only. So let's just place that one off. Flying on one tank only. are climbing a little bit, but I'm not too much concerned. I believe that when we cross those mountains, there will be downdrafts for a change, and we will then descend a little bit there. Pretty nice here. Looks absolutely gorgeous. When we get into a bit of clean air, I believe we should get there. You know, when we are out of the mountains. I will try to synchronize my magnetic compass. And let's see the map. Yeah, actually, when we cross that road, then we'll be entering into the missile testing range. Again, I'm perfectly aware that I've climbed a little bit. I still feel I'm less than 3,000 feet AGL at this point, so it's perfectly legal to fly at any altitude I want. And let's check around. Outside air temperature minus 10 degrees. Still climbing. Let's actually trim it a little bit for a higher speed, so we descend a little bit. Okay, and as far times goes, it should take us almost 8 minutes to get to the road. It's been 5 minutes, so I guess we are like in 2/3 of it. Probably someplace there. Yeah, we are leaving the mountain range, and I believe that this will actually be the road. Okay, now we should descend definitely to 10,500. This is gonna be the Salinas Peak, if I'm not mistaken, and we should take it from the south. So let's get down a little bit. Still wants to put us higher. Constant work with the yoke, as you can see. Trying to anticipate, you know, what the aircraft is gonna want to do. So not the smoothest ride, but at least it's fun. So, what are you testing then, Spiros? You're already in the air?
Yes, I am.
But
Because you started saying all this thing about density and performance, etc., etc. I thought I better go without an engine today, but I
oh,
can't find any suitable wind.
ah, so you need to cheat a little.
The first one I just didn't find any wind, and I had to land
Ah,
just 2 miles from the airport.
uh-huh.
Now it seems that I have managed to find a mountain that can help me. So I have wind from the north. This is on my south, and I'm climbing.
Oh,
So I will stay around this area to climb, and then I will follow. So yes, I got 500 meters in this mountain.
so
It
no,
seems
no sailplane cross country for you.
you have to find the right updrafts.
Yeah.
When you have so right now I'm taking advantage. If you can see at my anyway, the winds are from north, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you of a mountain, because the wind will hit the mountain and updraft, you just have to ride the ridge of the mountain.
Yeah.
So all this time I'm climbing. Now I'm going to gain even more. I'm going to do a turn, and I'm going to ride that ridge again to gain even more.
Mm-hmm. But it's not enough to cross
So
this
no,
plane.
uh, because the thing is that there are a lot of turbulence, and it I went the other side at the downdrift because it went.
Mm-hmm.
The wind
Yeah, yeah,
goes on the south side of the mountain. It goes down. It completely dropped me
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. You must love
So now
those
I'm going.
orographic winds.
So now I'm going to take advantage about one
Mm-hmm.
more time.
I've officially entered into the no-fly zone right now. I crossed that road.
I don't know if I'm going to make it that far, to
No,
be honest.
probably not.
Well, at least I'm climbing another 100 meters.
Yeah, it's a little lesser now than I thought that there would be, in the weekend or at the weekend. But good to have you here at least with the sailplane and then also Valerio. But I believe Valerio, you are on an IFR flight plan, right? If I heard your transmission right.
Sorry?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah,
Ah,
I was talking to Valerio.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to cross the mountains visually.
Okay.
I don't know. I've heard. Where's my I've heard about it, but
I have difficulty hearing
Oh,
you.
oh.
oh, okay. Yeah, so I've covered the mountains. I've heard. I said
Uh-huh.
VFR. Sorry, because.
But you were on some IFR departure, right? If I
Yeah,
got right.
I've tried the IFR departure. Probably
Okay.
I'll do the VOR approach, but I'm gonna fly directly to the VOR.
Okay.
But even VFR, it's really easy. You can see the ginormous lake right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, from 12,000 feet, it's the easiest navigation you can do.
Oh yes.
Just go to the lake. That's it.
I thought that when I reach this area, between those mountain ranges and at 10,000 feet, that it will stop being gusty, but it's a fun ride, It always wants me to tip me over. But it's very good. And Spiros, do you do you recall how it's virtually impossible to taxi the aircraft in a crosswind? You know, the default aircraft.
Why is it possible?
Well, because it weather vanes like crazy.
Ah, you mean in this particular weather?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you have like maybe six knots, you know, blowing from the side, and you are trying to taxi, then you know the default Cessna, for example, it always tries to, you know, turn into that wind almost, also on the ground. You
Do you
recall
use
that?
ailerons?
Yes. I just wanted to say that in this Comanche, you know, that has this custom engine, you know, outside of the simulator, I was able to taxi straight even like in 15 degrees crosswinds.
Look, the fact
And I
that
didn't need any rudder at all.
that is uh, too good to be true.
I've never had that
So
problem, you know.
if the aeroplane doesn't behave in the crosswind, maybe they just muted in this aircraft. So you should feel the tension to go to the wind.
On the ground, not really. You know, you have steerable wheel, and like maybe it's just slightly, you know, but I was also applying the
So
ailerons here, so maybe I just neutralized that one by that. I don't know. But definitely better than, you know, trying to go straight into the wind if it's like five knots only. I'm actually happy about this plane.
so if you push the yoke forward and the ailerons to the wind, it should be stable with any plane.
Yep. But try to taxi, you know, default Cessna on the ground in a crosswind. It's impossible.
Okay.
Well, not impossible, but almost full rudder deflection for me.
I don't want to say no, it's possible, and then we go into
Well,
an argument. You will just make me now to go back and try to.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I mean, like, challenge accepted, right?
yeah. Or although right now I'm facing another challenge.
Oh yes, I can imagine. I mean, challenge
Well,
where to put it down, right?
no, actually, I'm still gaining altitude. So right now I'm 2,700 meters.
Oh,
I'm dancing around the mountains.
but you don't have any money to noise converter, right, on your plane?
Sorry, any?
You don't have any money to noise converter on
Yeah,
your plane. Must be boring.
yes.
Or it must be cheap.
Actually, I like the fact that I can hear the wind.
Ah, it also must be quite cheap, not having an
and
engine
uh,
to feed.
and I don't care about the performance of the engine that doesn't exist.
Because you should care about the performance of the, you know, glide ratio, right?
Yes, but right now I care about if I find winds.
Ah,
So now I'm finished with this mountain, and I'm trying to find the next mountain to climb.
okay. But I bet you have much better, you know, glide ratio than I do in my brick here.
Ah, certainly. 1 to 25, I think.
Oh, it's funny that the airliners, what do they have, like 1 to 20?
No, used to. I don't
Used to.
think ever that number.
So maybe 1 to 19, 1 to 18, or something like that.
I would say closer to 1 to 15, 16.
Oh, Well, still better than my 128 or 129. And that's nautical miles per 1,000 feet, right?
No, it's a ratio of the same number.
Same number, okay. So feet to feet, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. So with 1 to 20, you lose 1 foot per every 20 feet. And since 1 nautical
Forward.
mile, yeah, since 1 nautical mile is about 5,500, right, or thereabout, I think, then it actually means for every mile you lose like 300 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
Let me Google it. So
I'm approaching my user fix here, turning point, so let's just let me concentrate. Because I don't want to miss it. Yeah, I think I'm there. 10:27.
so the discus that I'm writing right now has 1 to 42.
Oh, that's sick.
It's not that much. I'm about 1 to 60.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm in a good height and good speed, but I
Yeah.
don't know where I'm going.
But in a sailplane, we actually need that ratio because you're basically falling all the time. So it's
Well,
pretty
you're not
neat.
falling all the time. You are falling when you don't have
Yeah.
updraft.
Yeah, I mean like in reference to the air, you're falling all the time.
Yep.
So if you can look at my instruments, do you see that instrument there on the left on the speedometer?
Yeah.
This one tells me how much of wind do I have updraft.
Realmeter.
Tells you the updraft wind or your like VSI or
No,
VS.
no, the updraft wind.
Oh, how does it know? Does it calculate from your GPS altitude?
No, it's a pure analog. It's based on the difference between static ports and pitot. I don't know exactly how they do it, but they do it.
Oh, that
Okay,
sounds not possible to do from those inputs, but I don't
I
know
don't know
sailplanes, so
exactly, but they actually do it. It's pure analog.
and it's really wind meter.
It says to you.
And like Mac already.
So it's a ratio, so meter per second.
But the wind, not the climb rate.
No,
It's really
it's
the wind.
yes, it's how meters per second of updraft or downdraft.
Uh-huh. And do you also have VSI?
No,
No. But you have altimeter, right? Somewhere.
altimeter here and top to the top right and indicated.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop watching your stream now, so conserve some
Yes.
bandwidth.
So now the problem is I need to find my way. So let's see at the view. Okay, so okay. Now I see where I am. I have the White Mountain on my left, and now I have to turn. I have to climb all this valley to glide through this valley. Okay, let me turn now. Or maybe I will go to that mountain first, gain some more height.
So I think that this might be that peak that is looming there, and I forgot to look for the query there. And since I have a low wing aircraft, I cannot really see. But when I get there, it's gonna be about right on the time I will turn to 273, so 271. Well, I still wasn't able to synchronize my directional gyro, so let's see. Now it says 240, and it's a little bit stable, so actually let's do it like this. It should be at least closer. 245. Yeah, thereabout. And we are there, so reset the timer for 50. That means 4.50, that was 4.8. And okay, let's turn. And we have lost like 10 miles, and there's already this body of water, so let's start our descent. So I turn my carb heat on, fuel pump on. Actually, let's leave the fuel pump off for now. And actually descend a bit, and also reduce the RPM, so it kind of doesn't have that much drag. I should make our call, for example. So let's check the weather. What we have there. Low data. We have 0, 3, 0, and 16. Oh my god. It's gonna be fun. So 030. What's our magnetic variation? Magnetic variation is almost 10 to the east, so that means that the wind is more likely from 0 to 0. And 0 to 0.
So the instrument is
0
called
by 1.
variometer.
But variometer is actually BSI. At least in in my language, we call it variometer. The vertical speed indicator.
Yes, the VSI critical speed indicator. So here in Wikipedia it says known as rate of climb and descent indicator, rate of climb indicator, or VSI. Okay, so probably it is a VSI, but let me check again.
By the way, I like in this Comanche here that if you're, for example, descending at very low power and you increase RPM, it actually starts descending better, which is correct. And I like that, it's really happening here. And the winds at destinations are currently 0 to 0 magnetic. So it looks like more like a runway 1. The winds are 16, gusting 24. So I'll just overfly the field and actually verify what can I do. And how does it look like. Truth or consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie as a Piper Comanche about 8 miles, about 10 miles to the east at 8,500 altitude. We'll be continuing to the position above the airport and deciding what to do there. Truth or consequences? Let's actually turn on the fuel pump for such a low-powered descent. So the airfield elevation is again 4,862. That means traffic pattern altitude of 5,900. That means that I want to be at about 6,400 above the field. You don't need to descend that much anymore, so I just increase that RPM and the power. I arrest my descent.
Now that you said about that this area is a missile testing ground, I remember my time in the army. When we were doing exercises, we were going into a special area, and actually we were firing missiles in the sea, but close to coast. And at some point, in one of the, let's say, missions, was to hit a very specific set of coordinates, and there was, when typing the input, there was a very slight mistake in one digit that changed the target slightly to the north, and the target, the missile went into and crashed into a sandy coast, which after that
Sounds scary.
it was just went below the sea level. So effectively we reduced the country area by a couple of square kilometers.
Oh, sounds scary. Right, let's check the map again. So the airport should actually be someplace thereabouts, I believe, if I read the chart correctly, or let's say that's like that.
Okay, no updrafts anymore. Now I'm just gliding.
There's this island probably, so it might actually be a little bit. Where could it be? Originally thought these two inlets were like these two, but that would mean that actually they can be, because there is an island here. It's probably, yeah, it's probably there. But let's continue. I still have like 400 feet to lose, and I might start seeing the runways there. Let's quickly verify what kind of pattern runway 01 has.
Give me a mountain.
Left.
Hit a mountain.
Scattered large rocks, okay. This kind of looks like might be a runway, but not entirely positive as of now. Guess the airport should be more like it could be it. Let's get closer. There's a Truth or Consequences town. Yeah, that is in runway environment. Okay. And I can see some terrain here. The wind is coming from the north, so normally I would expect that the wind actually hits the terrain and goes up. So, and then there might be some rotor. So in real life, I would never fly like very low above that, because that would have like a possibility to put me under or into the ground. Here in the simulator, I don't think that it actually does that. Okay, so 4,400, so let's increase the power there to arrest our descent.
What's your speed?
My speed?
Yes.
Like indicated or?
Indicated, let's say.
In knots it's about 130.
Okay.
Are you watching my stream or?
No, I'm not
No.
watching.
Okay.
I have to be completely focused
Okay.
on this.
Just didn't understand, where that question came from.
I'm just wondering if how far you are. It will take me ages to reach you.
Yeah, I'm just arriving over the airport, so I need to mute myself here and speak on the radio.
Okay.
Truth or Consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie is over the airport at 6,500 feet, and will be joining left downwind of runway 1. Truth or Consequences. Okay, so I don't see any problems here. So I'm actually... runway 1 is like that, left traffic, so I'm actually crossing it correctly. I will reset the timer. I'm doing about 130, so let's say give it a minute. So I fly 2 nautical miles, and then I'll make a descent. Of course, since the wind is from the north, I'll just fly a little bit crooked to the right for a minute there, and then I'll try to hit the correct runway. As far as mixture goes, I'll just put it slightly forward, but definitely not going to do a full mixture. Fuel pump is on, landing lights can go on. Yeah, that's a minute, so let's make a descending turn. Right one, and we are turning into the wind. So make that a little bit. Not really descending, am I? Now I am. The runway environment is inside. Should make that turn a little bit, probably faster. I want to be at 5,900. There I go. I'll put the power a little bit, raise the RPM. Stay at this altitude, trim the airplane. Carb here is on, yes. Truth or Consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie joining left downwind runway 01 and 45. Truth or Consequences. right. Let's actually join the downwind. Yep. There we go. So gears going down. Pressure in the brakes. Flaps 1. And even though I have a high wind, I will use flaps 3 because the runway is short. But I will stay a little bit faster, full prop. Yeah, let's actually make the turn. Truth or consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, turning left base runway 01. Truth or consequences. Okay, so let's go down. Okay, flaps 2. Still higher on the airspeed, but it's actually desired. Truth or consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, turning final runway 01. Full stop landing, truth or consequences. Yeah, I'm gonna overshoot quite a bit, but let's not make that turn any tighter. Actually, let me use just flaps 2, and we'll be. We just need to slow down. Gear is down, locked. Are a little bit below the glide slope, and will maintain 100 knots instead of 90. Let's make a nice landing out of it. That was too high. Not the best landing I could have hoped for. And of course carb heat should be off. Oh my god. I'm not used to flying with carb heat, so usually forget to put it off. Pitot heat off. Strobe lights off. Truth or consequences traffic, Oscar Kilo of Papa Charlie. Runway 01 is vacated and I'm taxiing to parking. Truth or consequences. Okay, Pitot heat out, fuel pump off. Mixture, lean. Not that much. Landing gear off. And I'm gonna put it someplace here. Guess any of these places will do. There we go. Parking brake set. avionics off. Video throttle master switch off. And idle throttle, idle mixture. And beacon off. Okay, there we go. So I don't know if it's a truth or consequences that we got here. But yeah, the landing I flared too high. I believe I was like 3 or 4 feet higher than I wanted it to be at that final point. I hope you can forgive me, and see you next time. Next time will actually be the last group flight of the year. It will also be the 50th one, so I hope that it's gonna be a nice one. Bye.